Welcome to Batshit, a frank and funny look at living with mental illness.
While we'll touch on several illnesses, Batshit is focused on those along the spectrum of bipolar disorders. I'm your host, Adam.
And I'm your other host, Brad.
We're both bipolar. So strap in and let's see how batshit we really are.
Spoiler alert, pretty damn batshit. Oh, God.
That was-
Voices, man.
Yeah, that was so rough. We had Rebecca Stevens on a few weeks ago. She's like, you guys could just record that once and just put it at the top of every episode.
I feel like it gets us warmed up, though.
Is that, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
why not?
yeah, sure, whatever. This episode's topic, Bipolar Relationships Part 3, Dating.
Dating.
Woo. So this has far and away been our most popular series of
Yeah.
episodes.
And I don't know if that's just because they love to hear the shit show that our social lives are in. Like, I wonder how much of this is just like, Schadenfreude, right? Is that, yeah, Schadenfreude, am I using that right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Like, oh, we want to hear these fuck-ups talk about being fucked up and how they fucked up everything in their lives.
Oh, God.
That's sad.
And have we?
And have we? So yeah, Brad brought this up. So I'm blaming Brad. So I figure what we do on this one is we talk about our experience with dating, our experience with past relationships, our experience with the fuck ups that those relationships are, and also some of the stuff, the people that we're drawn to. Like, I think that might be an interesting element to
Yeah.
this, right? Because
Yeah.
let's start there. So let me ask you this, Brad. When you were a single young buck, if you ever were, what type of people were you attracted to? Aside from, like, forget physical attraction. Yeah, obviously. Beautiful people, sure. But, like, what people engaged you?
People who were a little wild.
Okay.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, which would coincide with mania.
Sure.
It's
sure.
like you have all that manic energy and the risk taking and blah blah blah, and so you want someone who's right there with you.
Yeah. I was also drawn to women that were a little wilder, for lack of a better term, or there's also that term of like free spirited, or
Yeah.
but for that, my reason was I felt like I needed that person to bring me out and
Oh,
allow
yeah.
me and help me to get to that manic Adam that is charming and that is engaging and can be fun. Because depressed Adam's not fun.
Yeah.
So if I see and know a woman is like, today we're going to go whitewater rafting. And it's like, oh, okay. Oh, we didn't plan this. And she's like, we're going to do it anyway. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That I always felt was good for me. But
Yeah.
that also led to some really bad situations because, eventually Adam runs out of energy for that person.
Yeah.
And that gets tough.
Yeah, there were so many people I dated that I would be into going to a depressed state and then just ghost.
Just ghost him.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened a lot, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I feel like what would happen is I would be drawn to a, usually like a wild. Use the word wild. That's fine. That's not a dig. A wild person, wild woman, and I would love bomb the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Love bomb the shit out of them. Fall instantly in love with them.
Yeah.
Within like 2 weeks, buying them jewelry, talking about forever, and then like a month and a half later, either she would end it because I was, way too far, way too fast, or I would end it because I had hit a depressive state and everything they wanted to do sounded absolutely terrifying or awful to me, and a lot of fights broke out and a lot of yelling, and
Yeah.
because it was chaotic, it was unstable.
Yeah, I had a lot of unstable relationships.
Yeah.
And would go manic a lot of times and would be like, ooh, shiny new thing.
Sure.
And go after like the new wild chick because this wild chick has settled down a little
Right.
bit.
What's she doing? You got to keep
Yeah.
that wild energy up.
Man, I had 2 different girlfriends growing up in East Tennessee who were really keen on me getting like a normal, boring office 9-to-5 job.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I kind of wonder if that was maybe their way trying to, like, they saw the mania, didn't know what it was, It was like, you need to calm down.
Oh, like this is the solution? The solution
Yeah.
is you sitting behind a desk?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Wear a white Walmart shirt with a cheap tie, and because I was like young in East Tennessee.
Right. Well, hey,
at least I wore shoes.
Good for you, bud. You know what? If that's the bar, you're
Yeah,
hitting it.
yeah.
You're hitting the top of your head on it.
I wore
but you're
shoes
hitting it.
sometimes. I mean, I've told you about like driving around naked.
Right.
For some reason that sounded fun, and I'd sometimes convince chicks to do it with me.
You know what, Brad? Good
like
for you.
there was this one girl who was just a friend of mine. We weren't dating or anything, and I just remember one time I was like, "Let's drive naked." And it wasn't even a sexual thing. But she was like, "All right."
Your eyes when you just said that were unsettling.
That's probably what they were like.
Let's drive naked right now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And back then I couldn't even blame it on like drugs or alcohol because I didn't drink, I didn't do anything.
Oh yeah.
It was just me.
See, like my alcohol from a young age, it was, away from
Like
me.
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. I'd be crawling towards mom and dad liquor cabinet. No, I mean, I was drinking 14, 15.
Yeah.
And it was a way for me to cope. And it was also, there's also that social acceptance when you're in high school and later in college where, like, this is something you should do because this is what other people are doing. And then it turned into something a little different for me because it was escapism, right? Like
Yeah.
It was a way for you not to deal with who you are or what your problems are. You can instead just walk through it all like there's a haze. You're just walking through a haze instead. And everything is softer.
Yeah.
Like it's like a weird filter. Like if we put those filter on our Zooms, you know what I mean? How you can't really see what's in the background, but you can see what's in the background.
Right.
That's how alcohol felt for me.
And you had a doggy nose.
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you drink is you get one
Yeah.
of those like weird,
Filters.
it's weird filters that happen. Gross. Maybe that's why women left me is because
Because of the dog nose.
no, because I lost the dog nose.
Oh, because the dog nose was cute.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, that guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the guy.
That makes a lot of sense.
Did you date any women with substance abuse issues?
I'm trying to think.
Brad's gone off
There was
to a magical place of his memory.
join me
Journey on a wonderful trip down memory lane.
on a rainbow in the sky. Yeah, there was one chick I dated who it wasn't a specific substance, but she always had to be on something.
Okay.
She was either drinking, doing the pot, on Molly or coke, like something.
Sure.
But that's the only one I'm aware of. Although there was one chick I dated that I came home one day and she had come over. My roommates had let her in, and I really had to piss. And I run into the bathroom and throw the door open, and she's like mid snort with coke.
Yeah.
And this again was before I did any. I hadn't done anything, and I was like, "Get out! I gotta piss."
That was your response?
Yeah.
Get out of here, lady. I got to piss.
Take your cocaine somewhere else.
I don't care where you take it, but away from my toilet. I've dated multiple people who have had substance abuse problems. One who has reached out and apologized for their behavior because our relationship was like, oh my God, you want to talk about like manic episode after manic episode after. It was like living on a fucking coke high like for weeks. But
Yeah.
we were only together for like 3 months, but it was an intense 3 months.
Yeah.
And she had a substance abuse problem. She came to terms with it. She is now sober. She reached out to me to apologize. But yeah, it was one of those things where like she'd be in the back doing coke, I'd be at the bar drinking, and then that was the night. That was the typical night.
Yeah.
And you wonder why am I drawn to this person? Like because when you sober up, right? Because you do eventually sober up.
Yeah.
Like the next day, you're like, what the was I doing last night? What was that person I was with doing last night? But the logic goes out the window when all of a sudden these emotions get involved because like you feel that high. Like forget the chemical high that comes with the alcohol or the coke. It's things like oh my God, this person made me feel so alive. Being with them is always exciting.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need to be with them so I can feel like this. Because when I feel like this, and we've talked about this with like writing, for instance, you're like, I can write anything, right?
Yeah.
I can lift any amount of weight. You know what I mean? It's like you feel untouchable. Untouchable.
It's that thing we've talked about before with mania, where all the feel-good hormones get dumped into your brain, and you start associating it with a person.
Right. Yeah, and that now it's like now you're obsessed with that person.
Yeah.
And you have to be with that person, otherwise it'll never come again.
And we talked about in the obsession episode, you get into those states and you have to contact the person constantly.
Yep.
It's like you're gonna text them over and over all day with no regard to what they're doing or what they have going on in their life.
Right.
And then you get to the point where you're like, I've texted them too much, and then you feel like an asshole, and then you're like, should I apologize for texting so much?
Right. We were just watching like the finale of Ted Lasso, and I'm not going to give anything away if people haven't watched it, but there is a character who is texting another character and just not getting a response. Basically they're getting ghosted.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and they're like scrolling through a bunch of unanswered messages, and I'm like, I wonder how crazy some of those messages are, because I know I've been in situations where I've sent a couple dozen text messages to never get responded to, and it was because of the state I was in. It was like, this person's dead. This person's dead. This person needs me. I need to find them. Where are you? There's like a desperation that goes with it that goes almost beyond like feeling hurt. Like there was no there was no pain I was feeling. It wasn't like I was like, oh my God, she left me and my heart's broken. It's more, this person is a crucial part of my life, and if they leave, if something's wrong with them, if they're done, then how am I ever going to feel good again?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like it's not heartbreak. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to lose a leg.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it was always just anxiety. Like not hearing from them when I was in those states. I was just like anxious constantly. Okay. And then I'd hear back from them, and it was like all that got dumped.
Right.
I could relax again for the 6 text exchange until they stopped responding.
Right, and then you have to
yeah. But I mean, it's probably a dopamine rush. I know
so.
I've read about that with social media. People have to incessantly check social media, that you get a little bit of like a dopamine hit.
Sure. That's another thing that's fucked, is how reachable we all are right now. Right? Yeah. Like back in high school, if, let's say I called a girl and, oh, she's at, I don't know, fucking volleyball practice, right? Then I'm not going to hear from her for like 2 hours, and I can guarantee that, because the girl's at practice. After practice, she has to drive back to her house. Yeah. She has to deal with her shit, and then she's got to call me. So I'm like, okay, 2 hours. There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, because that there's no way she can contact you, and she doesn't know that you tried to contact her yet.
Exactly, yeah, because it's not like her mom's, driving to the practice to be like, oh, by the way, Adam called. But now you're accessible 24/7. Yeah. And on a variety of different formats. You can get texts at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You can get phone, although I don't think the kids do phone calls anymore. They do like the FaceTime.
Yeah, I don't know about Gen Z. I know the stereotype amongst us millennials.
Us millennials.
Is that we're scared shitless of phone calls.
Yeah, people do not like to call. Yeah. Every once in a while I get a phone call from someone who always texts me, and I'm like, oh no, there's got to be terrible news if they're actually calling me. You're like, oh, Jesus. But no, so going back to that, we have that instant gratification available to us.
Yeah.
Not just from social media, but from our romantic partners.
Yeah.
And if we're not getting that, and then go to the availability of romantic partners. I think about my grandparents, right? My grandfather came back from the war, met my grandmother at like a Lindy Hop or whatever it was, and they got married. That was it. There was no dating. It was just like they met one person and they dated.
It was courting.
It was courting.
That was the difference.
It was courting. That was the word. And one of the reasons for that, I think, and this is just my opinion, they didn't have the accessibility to the legions of single people that people nowadays do.
Yeah.
It's like if you met like 12 people, like you better like or marry one of those 12 people, because otherwise
That's
you're
it.
shit out of luck.
Yeah, that's your availability.
Nowadays you can be on fucking Tinder, in the capital. Like I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, and there can be a girl up in Boston, Massachusetts, who's on Tinder, and all of a sudden you connect,
Yeah.
and like based off of nothing other than the like of dogs and snowboarding and I don't know, video games. And so now all of a sudden, okay, I'm not getting this instant gratification from this person. I will look for it somewhere else. And I can get it somewhere else. And it doesn't matter the quality of the interaction because the quality of the person, because I'm going to assign them a fake quality or level of a caliber anyway, because I'm just going to love bomb them and place unrealistic expectations on them. And they're not going to be the person who they really are. They're going to be the person in my mind. So, doesn't matter.
Do you think people dating today, when they enter into a new relationship, do you think they spend less time with that person because of the availability via technology? Like, for instance, you were saying, back before texting, you didn't have the availability to a girl. So in order for you to have conversations about your week, you'd have to get together.
Right. You have to call.
Yeah. And I wonder if now, whereas maybe people averaged 3 to 4 times a week hanging out.
Oh, you mean like in person?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I wonder if it's like 1 to 2 times a week now because you're constantly texting and you know everything about each other.
Sure. Sure. Well, there's also, what's got to be weird about that is your hormones are going crazy at that age, right?
Yeah.
So that means you have this, these connections that are via text or via phone call, and then you only see each other once in a blue moon to physically connect. And I'm not even talking about sex, but everything that goes along with that: hand holding, hugging, any physical, like any sexual act before actual intercourse,
finger banging.
Yeah, finger banging. There you go. What I love about Tennessee Brad is his gentleness with words.
Yeah. I felt like it was time to insert something filthy.
Thank you, buddy.
This episode.
But it's that idea of like, oh, okay, I feel like I know this person, but I'm not physically experienced with them. I don't know anything about them physically. And now, what's the expectation? The expectation is to go from like 0 to 110 physically, because I don't see you physically. So I feel like I've made all these connections. Maybe photos are exchanged. Maybe videos are exchanged, and then what do we do now that we're in? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Like, that's got to be intense.
Thanks for listening. Help us continue the conversation. Leave us a comment with your thoughts, experiences, or questions about mental health. Every opinion and viewpoint is valid. Just don't be a dick.
Hey, friends. Brad and I started Batshit because we needed someone to talk to about our bipolar. So when looking for a sponsor, BetterHelp was the obvious choice. BetterHelp provides access to therapists via text, via Zoom, via email, via phone call, 24 hours, 7 days a week. I don't need to tell anyone how broken the American healthcare system is, especially when it comes to mental illness. But the beautiful thing about BetterHelp is that they'll work with you. Go to www.betterhelp.com/batshit. You'll get 10% off for the first month, and you'll get someone to talk to right now. If you need to talk to someone, do it. Please. We love you.
I read something recently on the...
Good for you, reading.
Yeah,
Look at
I
you.
learned.
All right.
But on the topic of the filthy thing I brought up, I just thought this was funny. This has nothing to do with dating. But Waylon Jennings had once said to Chris Christopherson about modern country music that modern artists have done to country what pantyhose did to finger fucking.
Oh, my God.
That's just always... It's just stuck in my head.
I needed to share that with our listeners.
Yeah, I felt like I did. I'm sorry, folks. You guys have listened to this show long enough, I think, to know you're going to get hit with stuff like this.
How do we get back on track now?
I don't think we do. I think we just come up with a
go in a different direction.
Yeah. Yeah. So
this is another interesting thing about dating and being manic is all of a sudden all of the interactions can get really irresponsible really quickly.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're spending too much money. You're seeking gratification, physical gratification sometimes too quickly.
You have that grandiosity,
You have that
so you want that person to reinforce how great you are.
Right. And, they should see how great you are.
Yeah.
And I mean, and therefore they're going to respond the way you want them to respond to these things.
Which also comes into play, I think, with serial dating. Like Captain Crunch when he's available.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Tony the
Sorry.
Tiger, he's a catch. He's great.
That was some dad jokes.
That was
right
a really
there.
bad. Well, after the finger bang joke, I appreciated that joke.
Yeah. So there's a little wholesomeness to balance it out.
We have some wholesomeness. We can be wholesome, you guys.
No, but with serial dating, where it's like you constantly want to go out on dates with new people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of feeds into the grandiosity.
Sure.
And the craving for a new experience in mania. We've talked about before, you want to live your life at 120 miles an hour and constantly be experiencing something new. So you date this chick on Monday, this chick on Wednesday, and then you go out with this chick on Friday, and then maybe the Monday chick again on Saturday.
Right. And then you factor in ADHD, and I don't.
And so you just start calling them all babe,
Right.
Because you don't remember their names.
Babe 1, babe 2, babe 3.
Hey, babe.
And babe. That's awful. I just lost my train of thought. Let's go back to calling people babe. Hey, babe.
Hey, babe.
Babe. I don't know what that's about. Like, I don't know. Like you said, it's that grandiosity, right? Like, so it's that need for that reinforcement of how awesome you are.
Yeah.
In that manic state.
Which can also apply to depression. You feel so shitty sometimes, and it's like, I get this dopamine hit from picking up a new person.
Sure, sure. Or connecting with that the person that you're currently with.
Yeah, and then for a few minutes, I feel like I'm worth something.
Right.
Because this girl at the bar is interested in me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're not. We're not worth anything. No. Dating is hard, you guys. Connecting with someone is hard. Like, I remember what I wanted to say now. Be proud of me.
Yay.
Thanks, bud.
Bipolar memory caps.
Where does informing your dating partner of any mental disorder you may have come into play?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I think we kind of answered this or talked about this on a listener question once.
I might revise my statement. I think before I had said something along the lines of wait until you're committed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost feeling like now, if you're talking about something that could have an impact on your dating and relationship with them,
okay,
you just get that out on the first date.
Really, first date.
If you're having a good conversation and you feel like this is a person you want to keep seeing,
Right.
It's like a disclaimer. Like,
and it doesn't have to be in like
it doesn't have to be a big dramatic thing.
Right. It doesn't have to be like, just so you know, I may spend shit tons of money, or ghost the crap out of you. That doesn't mean I don't love you. Yeah. Which I do. Here's a ring. Yeah. It doesn't have to be that dramatic, but I do think that we've reached a point, I'd like to think so anyway, in society where the mention of things like depression, ADHD, bipolar disorder isn't going to send another person screaming and running for the hills.
I'd hope so. And you know what? If it did, you shouldn't be wasting your
person.
time with that person anyway.
Yeah, true. And especially if that person reacts that way to your disorder, how are they going to make you feel about yourself while in a relationship with them?
Right. You go manic or you get depressed.
Yeah, and they're like...
They're not going to help.
No, they're not going to... They're going to
make the situation worse.
Buck it up. Just, stiff upper lip, Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man up.
Man up. Woman up.
Non-binary
up. That's fun to say.
Yeah.
God, yeah. So, it also goes to like, going back to like the grandiosity idea, consent in a relationship.
Yeah.
Right. Like often.
Yeah, because if you're going to continue seeing somebody, you owe it to them to consent to the ups and downs and weird behavior that they're going to experience with you.
Yeah, and letting them know what's coming, and that sometimes these social interactions or sometimes even physical interactions that you have are going to be slightly skewed or slightly off or slightly untrue sometimes to who you truly are, because it like we were saying, sometimes in a manic state you're not yourself. Not your true self. So if you have a physical interaction with someone when you're in a manic state, it's like they're sleeping with someone else.
Right.
And that person may not want to sleep with that other person,
Yeah.
which is, there's consent. That's a whole conversation to have with your partner.
You know what's a great idea?
What's that?
A dating app just for people who are mentally ill or neurodivergent.
Huh.
Wouldn't
That would be interesting. So
Yeah.
wait a minute. Would the goal be to like match bipolars up with each other?
No. It's just that like even if people who don't have something come on the app, they're open.
Oh, they're open to the
a partner
fact
with-
that
yeah.
that's interesting. Sure. Well, I mean, honestly,
So if any of you know how to code,
Yeah,
get in touch with us.
yeah,
I'm
sure.
Copywriting
yeah,
that
patent
idea.
pending.
Yeah.
No, but like, why not have some of that on the current dating apps? Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's no reason why.
I'm sure there's a bunch of boxes that you can check as to what you're looking for in a partner. Why
Yeah.
not that?
Why not that? Right? Because there's also that like, oh, she's got to be tall or he's got to be fit, and I'm like, okay, well, just so everyone who's on this Tinder app knows, I'm bipolar.
Yeah.
Just FYI. It doesn't mean you shouldn't date me. It just means I'm bipolar and know that going in.
Yeah.
But then you have. So there was this thing in Los Angeles about buying houses. So when Mandy and I got our house, the way we got our house, which was a long and tumultuous journey, but we ended up doing it. One of the reasons we secured it was we wrote the elderly couple that lived here a letter. And we were like, hey, elderly couple who lives here, it's really hard to buy a house. We'd like to buy your house. Please allow us to buy your house. And we ended up doing that, and we really think that's one of the reasons we got the house. You're not allowed to do that anymore in Los Angeles.
Really?
No, you can't because of prejudice. Like, people can deny or accept based off of, like, race, religion, any other number of things.
And this is me being maybe a little conspiracy minded. I would almost guarantee you that those were large real estate companies that buy up properties and destroy them and make apartment buildings or rent them out or whatever, who push that through.
Sure.
Because that's who that's going to end up benefiting.
Right. But I bring that up because if you're on a dating app, someone may say they're okay with bipolar, right?
Yeah.
And they see that you are bipolar. And it's not that they're against it, but wouldn't it be easier to date someone who's not bipolar? So I'm just going to whoop.
Yeah.
And a lot of those apps are superficial to begin with.
Yeah. That's why I was saying if you had a dating app, that was the premise. And include neurodivergency, autism.
Sure.
And whatnot, is I am open to someone who's a little outside of the norm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good.
That's everybody knows.
I like how I talked myself in a circle there. I'm like, hey, put it on Tinder. Don't put it on Tinder. Back to Brad's idea of an app.
But if it's all bipolar people, it just become a hookup act really quickly.
It really would.
It's like Carrie Fisher once said. She's like, we should have a bipolar day parade where we just wheel the depressives out in their beds as floats while all the manic people are fucking and shopping and making bad decisions.
Oh my god! Yeah, I mean that would be a great TV show. Like, it would get so many more views than the Macy's Day Parade.
Yeah,
I can almost guarantee it. And we are in a strike right now, so we need material.
Yeah,
maybe we should pitch this.
Yeah, producers, if you're listening,
producers. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
This was fun. I mean, it's also a little sad because you get to relive the horrible mistakes you made dating. And,
oh yeah.
And again, we've.
You know what randomly occurred to me in the shower today, and I wasn't even thinking about doing this episode. It just for some reason popped in my head.
Was it a photo? Was it me naked?
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah.
And so I threw up a few times.
Hi-oh!
While masturbating.
Well, master.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the relationship we have.
Yeah.
Super healthy.
God, this episode, guys. I'm sorry. We're not even drinking. It's the middle of the day. Gonna have some afternoon delight.
Wait a minute. So if we were drinking, would we be more reserved, less reserved?
Less reserved.
You think so?
I don't know. Maybe more reserved.
Anyway, random thought in the shower.
Yeah, random thought in the shower. So there was this chick I dated when I was, I don't know, like 20.
Okay.
And I was definitely manic when I met her. I was working at a radio station doing like morning idiot stuff for the morning show.
You had so many interesting jobs over the years.
Because I'm manic.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
bounce from like weird thing to weird thing.
Sure.
I now realize. But yeah, so I was doing morning idiot stuff for this radio station in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And there was some event, and this chick worked for the company that was sponsoring the event.
Okay.
We were out there, and I was fully manic and just like high energy and charming and blah blah blah. We started dating, and a couple months in, her ex-boyfriend killed himself.
Oh God.
So obviously that had an impact on her.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was fully manic, looking in hindsight, and grandiose. And so I started trying to come up with drama that I was experiencing so that the focus would be on me.
Oh, wait, to pull attention off of her and put it on you?
Yeah,
or
like
to
I wanted her attention on me instead of
so
like
it wasn't
letting her grieve.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
God. What'd you come up
Awful.
with? Do you remember?
I think it was like around my mother's birthday. And so I just wanted to like talk about like her dying and
Yeah.
shit. And like, if I remember correctly, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something that popped in my head. And that's the kind of awful shit we do while
Yep.
dating.
Yeah, we're
stuff.
terrible.
Because when
people.
you go grandiose, like you're just, I mean, that's one of the things. You're kind of a drama queen.
Oh, you're a huge drama queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, all attention needs to be on you.
Yes,
It's your television show. Everyone else is a side character.
and that's it. So there's a one camera. It's not a sitcom. It's a one camera comedy. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or dark drama. Single cam. This has been fun, and any of our exes, if you listen to this and you want to write us in,
Don't.
don't do that. Don't do that.
No,
please.
seriously. Yeah, if you want to write us, even if it's a, like, fuck you, you son of a bitch.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's
I've
fine.
gotten some of those too.
Yeah, yeah.
Not from this podcast though.
I got to go fuck yourself email once.
Ooh,
That was
really?
nice. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Uh,
But you know what? That's their prerogative. That's how they felt. They're allowed to feel that way. I don't have to agree with them, or anyone else has to agree with them. But
Yeah.
that's how they feel.
I think we're at a point with this stuff that even if we got those, we'd be like,
Yeah, we've gotten some.
you're not wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong. God, it hurts me. Yeah. We got to keep doing these relationship or type episodes because every time we do one, I'm just like, oh God, I have so much more to talk about, but we don't have time.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a dating part 2
Dating
because
part
we
2.
haven't even really gotten into a lot of the crazy stories.
Yeah, no.
Maybe
crazy.
that's it. We'll do
We can do
bipolar
those.
relationships part 4, dating part 2,
We-
the stories.
The stories. Oh God, what we need is like a That's one that has to happen at night with scotch. That's
Yeah.
definitely one that has to happen at night
Yeah.
with scotch. Ugh, gross. Hey, we love you for listening. We love you for fighting. We love you for going through all the same shit or slightly similar shit that we're going through. It makes us feel a little better. I hope it makes you feel a little better. You don't deserve to feel bad about yourself.
Yeah. And we brought this up the past couple episodes, but I'm going to bring it up again. We've been talking about doing Batshit Badasses meetup groups.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're interested in that, no matter where you are, please write us. You can write us on batshitpodcast.com.
Right.
And we'd love to get that going. We
Right.
think, we have a large listener base now, and we think everybody could use a little community.
Yeah. Unless you're one of our exes and you want to just get us there so you can stab us. Don't. Then.
Angie! Blast to the face.
That's just this Brad, like, I don't understand why this batshit badasses meeting is in an alley. I don't know what's going on.
Every time I come out of one, I'm wearing a cast.
That'd be hilarious, but awful. No, but yes, Brad's completely right. Write in, please, because the opportunity to meet some of y'all or to record a live podcast where you guys can even ask us questions or boo or cheer or laugh would be amazing.
Yeah. And one last thing I'll say as we outro here is we've gotten some messages recently. We've talked about this on listener questions and Batshit Badasses with people wanting relationship advice.
Yeah.
Because they're dating someone who has this and the person has left them.
Yeah.
And I know none of you want to hear this, but that's a point where I think you have to respect that decision.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to throw that out there because it gets, when you have this stuff, you can get creepy
Yeah, you can.
when you don't mean to.
Yeah.
You think you're doing something sweet and kind, and the other person realizes that you're stalking.
Yeah.
You don't think you're stalking.
You don't think you're stalking at
Very
all.
few people who stalk think they're stalkers.
Right. They just think they love this person. to
Yeah,
an extent.
and if they just see me,
Right.
if they just saw me shopping at their neighborhood grocery store,
Right. Exactly.
they'd be like, "Oh, I missed that guy."
Yeah, and that's
And
not
that's
the way
not
it
the
works.
case.
That's the
That's-
delusion. That's
yeah.
the delusion in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind that you just heard some of our dating stories. We don't listen to the show for dating advice at all. Don't do that. No.
God no. God no.
But Brad is right. Always respect your partner in whatever way they need to be respected, whether it be someone who is sick or with a mental illness, whether it's someone who is dating you and you have a mental illness. Respect their needs and their wants, and remember that there are people out there for you that will love you and support you. It may not be the person that you're currently stalking or trying to be with.
Yeah. But you'll find them, and when you do, you won't have that same kind of anxiety.
Yep.
And that same kind of worry and the need to do crazy shit like that.
Yeah, exactly.
When you find somebody that you're supposed to be with, they'll be understanding and empathetic about your condition. And that person will be able to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
When you come out of a manic state, instead of them saying, "Hey, I'm not going to talk to you anymore," they'll be able to say, "I know that wasn't you.
Right.
Do you want to talk about it?"
Yeah.
And they'll learn your triggers.
Yeah.
They'll help you deal with it.
And grow.
Yeah. Just don't treat them as your therapist.
No.
Get an actual therapist.
Get an actual therapist. Talk to people, please.
BetterHelp.com.
BetterHelp.com.
/batshit.
Y'all are amazing. Keep fighting. We love you.